Hey, I'm Tom,
And I'm Josh.
and this is the BlockCast.
We're Lego fans. Click.
Welcome back, or if you're new here, welcome in. Or if you're listening, hello, my name's Tom, and this is me whispering to you via your car audio or headset, or if you have me on a really loud speaker. Now, we've done multiple episodes. If you haven't watched them yet, there's episode 1, there's episode 2, and this is episode number 3. You don't have to watch them sequentially, but I recommend it because it's fun. Right, Josh?
It definitely is. It's a lot of fun for us to be here sharing our passion with Lego with all of you, and I'm sure it is just as fun to listen to us talk about Lego to you.
Correct. We are going to talk Lego to you today. And today's topic is something a little bit different. The Blockcast covers all. And something I'm more familiar with is Lego in the secondary market, also known as reselling. Before we get to the nitty gritty of the online portions of how to find out how much your Lego sets are actually worth, or if you want to learn how to sell them, Josh went on an adventure in person to a brand new opening in Mount Dora, Florida, to a Lego store, secondary. Is that right, Josh?
Yeah, absolutely. I went to the grand opening of Bricks and Minifigs in Mount Dora, which is the second of three secondary market stores that are opening in the Orlando area over the course of a period of a couple months. We talked about that a little bit in the last episode. So you check that out. Uh,
Get over
but if you
there.
don't check it out, three secondhand stores are opening in the Orlando area over a course of 3 months, and I went to the grand opening of the second one. So again, this is Bricks and Minifigs. It is
Hmm.
a secondary store. It is a franchise, so there are Bricks and Minifig stores, brick and mortar locations throughout the country. You may have one near you. I definitely recommend if you do check it out because it's great for a number of
I'll
different reasons.
I'll link them down in the if you want to check out this specific store, I'll link it down on the YouTube description down below and see if I could figure out how to link it down below on the podcast if you're listening and want to tune in.
And what's really great about Bricks and Minifigs is if you're looking for that set that you missed out on when it was initially on store shelves. They do have secondary sets that are both brand new, sealed in the box, as well as secondary sets that have been built already, have been a little bit loved, maybe had some time on a shelf and just no longer had room. These secondhand stores, have the opportunity to trade with their visitors, their guests. You can take sets in that you don't really necessarily want anymore, trade them, get store credit, sell them altogether. But what was really fun about this grand opening was that two former contestants of the Lego Masters show
Mm,
on Fox that we talked about again in episode 2. Check
you
it
should.
out.
Yep.
Uh,
Yep.
check it out.
You should
It's
go. You
worth
should
it.
go listen to it, but finish this episode first, and then go listen to that
Right.
one because it was fun.
Or go listen to that one and come back because that
Yeah,
increases the view count, right?
exactly. And we need as many views over the number of 2 as possible. So be sure to listen and tell a friend. Harmless plug.
Tell two friends.
Yeah, 2, just 2. That's all you need to do.
We're not above begging. No, it's okay. You should want to because it's a lot of fun. But two of those contestants were there. We had the opportunity to meet both Krystle and Michelle. So they both appeared on the US Lego Masters on their separate seasons. Krystle came back for the holiday season and was partnered with Rob Riggle, if you remember.
Hmm.
They did the hand punch you through the thing. Um, and she ended up winning that season. Spoiler alert for those who haven't watched.
Sorry.
But both were selected to represent the US in Lego Masters Australia versus the world.
Ooh.
Um, and they did a fantastic job representing the US Lego building community because they, again, spoiler alert, took home the gold. The Lego
Hmm.
Masters trophy came home from the land down under to the United States with them, and they had it on display there in the store.
Oh,
So not
very
only did we get
cool.
to meet them, we got to see the trophy, and then spend some time just kind of talking about their experience, talking about their builds, and then explore the store.
Well, that it was really nice that they had so many different things at the store itself. It appears like they opened with a lot to show, and I'm glad that they brought the Lego Masters. And it's really impressive that I did not know about Lego Australia versus the World, which I need to figure out how to watch that, how to find that. Because it's not on Hulu because I don't have cable.
It's it's
Is it?
not. Nope,
Was
it's
it
not
only shown on
on.
Australian TV?
I don't know if it was only Australian TV. It was not broadcast to U.S. markets, unfortunately. So I think there's probably some sites and things like that that you would be able to view the
Yeah.
episodes if you were to do a search. Um, but no official U.S. broadcast.
Hey, took home the gold though, which is very impressive. Now, at the store, Josh, when you went, what were some of your favorite builds that you saw that you wanted to pick up potentially, or did they do any kind of giveaways and things like that?
Yeah. So when we arrived, they were doing a giveaway for the first 90 people to
Hmm.
arrive to enter the store. They got a customized minifig torso
Huh.
with the store's logo on it. So that was pretty cool. They were also doing a raffle for a couple of different sets: the Black Panther bust,
Mm.
the botanical series, the mini garden, as well as the new ghost from the Ahsoka series. Um, they had those as raffle giveaways that you were able to enter in as you came in. You got a ticket, and then if you made a purchase during the grand opening ceremony, you got another ticket that you could enter into the raffle. And as far as the sets that caught my eye, there was too many to list. Honestly, this is a 45-minute podcast, and in truth, we spent about 3 hours at the grand opening
Wow.
of Bricks and Minifigs. But some of the highlights, some of the sets that they had on display, they had the Lego Death Star. For those of you who are fans of the Marvel movies, the franchise Spider-Man, it is the one that Ned drops. This one was not dropped. It was on display with all of the minifigs. They had um, several other displays as well. They had the brand new Mount Dora set
Mm.
on display, as well as Apocalypseburg from the Lego Movie 2.
Hmm.
They had the Ecto 1 from Ghostbusters and all sorts of other assorted sets, both new and old. And what was great is they're on display. You can look at them. So there's a little bit of a vault like quality and going into the store and just kind of walking down memory lane and seeing some of these older sets and displayed in all of their glory. Uh, but it's also an opportunity to maybe find that white whale that you're looking for, as the Death Star was for me. That was a set that I missed out on during its original release, and I was just a little bit too tempted seeing it there in person. And with the specials that they were running for the grand opening, they were giving guests the opportunity to join their founders club. And with that came a little bit of a discount that made it too tempting to pass up on the Lego Death Star. So that is now going to be a part of my collection. But in addition to all of the sets that they had, they also had the individual minifigures. So they had cases with any number of the minifigs that you could possibly imagine, broken down from the different CMF series, the collectible minifigures, the typically a polybag or now in the boxes. They had those broken out, so you could see them. You could see the different series. You could pick the ones maybe that you missed if you didn't get the blind box that you wanted. Then they had some assorted minifigures from various other sets and things like that. The most we'll say financially irresponsible of the minifigs that they had was the silver plated C3PO minifig
Ooh.
that was retailing at just a meager $1,200
Only?
only. Yes.
Only. For
So a bargain for those of you that need a silver plated C3PO minifig. But
only.
many of the other minifigs were marketing at a more reasonable rate, but for collectors, um, it was a great opportunity to kind of find those characters and those minifigs that you were looking for.
Hey, and that's the nice thing, especially as the secondary stores start to pop up more often. Like around me, I started to have new stores come around. Not as close as I would like, but they're starting. But it's really fun to watch because it gives you like if you do not have a Lego store near you, it is the Lego store experience, but not directly. It's indirectly. And I think that potentially could be a little bit more fun because they have a little bit more leeway on what they can do. Um, but with what you were talking about, Josh, would you go back? Would you go back
Oh,
to? Would you go back?
I would, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely, because they are constantly again taking in new sets, and they, as I mentioned, participate in trades and things like that. I was speaking with one of the associates, and for every set that they had on display that they sell, they had one in the back that they were ready to bring out. They don't necessarily announce what they have, so it's kind of a luck of the draw, kind of the timing thing of when you're there. So every time you go, it's going to be a different experience of what's on display and what sets or what minifigures are available, um, because the inventory is constantly changing. It's
Yeah.
not They're not waiting on a shipment from Lego of the new sets. They are relying solely on the audience, the trades and everything that they take in, as well as their own personal the collection that the store has.
And the big thing for the store as well is that it is an experience. And going forward, they can bring you in to have, imagine a building night. You just have a whole table, you pay $5, you lay out a whole table, you dump a whole tub, you meet other people, and you just build Lego. That's one of the advantages that one of these in-store sellers has over, let's say, an online retailer, right? Where you have the variety that Josh is talking about, that potentially their inventory will always be changing, but it's not as infinite as an online reseller. And that's a little bit about what we're going to be talking about today. Josh got to experience the in-person store, which is the experience, and it's the idea that the pricing that Josh, depending on, because you picked up the Lego Death Star. You picked up one more, right?
I Two more actually. I got the Ecto one as well, and then I got the Fiat,
Fiat.
um,
That's
the
correct. Yep.
the pale yellow Fiat that was a set a couple of years ago, and not only build sets too, but they do have different pick a brick sections as
Hmm.
well. So they have tubs where you can kind of go through and create your own minifigs, or pick up your own bricks, as the name suggests, bricks and minifigs. And again, as part of the Founders Day kind of offer that they provided, um, I was able to get a bulk bag of loose bricks that I'll use for my own personal builds and things like that. And that's the experience too that's changing. So if you're looking to kind of supplement your own private collection of bricks, or if you're working on your MOC and you need some specific bricks in a large quantity, these pick a brick bins are a fantastic resource to go to kind of sort through. Maybe it's a piece that you didn't know you needed, and then you find it and you're like, that's going to be perfect for whatever project it is that you're working on. That in-person experience is invaluable to the new projects and new ideas that you may be having. And as you mentioned, Tom, there is actually a party room that you can rent out for birthday parties and things like that. So you have a private space in the store to kind of celebrate with Lego and with friends and that sort of thing. So it is a actual feature at that particular location. I'm not sure if other stores have it as well, but that was where they were doing the meet and greet. So having that space, they can do special events and things like that for the visitors.
And that's what sets them apart from, let's say, an online retailer that is also doing the same thing as an in-person retailer like this, where they're providing that experience. They're providing that difference, which is interesting. Now, let's say you can go and you're doing a smaller project and you're working on Pick a Brick and you're trying to find what you need, but you can't necessarily find it specifically in person. And this is where online retail and online reselling comes into play. I am a reseller full time. If you're interested, I go by TRB Collectibles on YouTube as well, where I teach people a little bit more about reselling, not necessarily directly with Lego, but I do source and sell Lego as well. So you're hearing it from someone that does it rather regularly. Um, but what Josh was sourcing was technically resold Lego. They are just doing it in person, but I prefer to do it, and others prefer to do it online because there's no physical storefront. There's no extra expense. There's no in-person extra. Um, if you've ever wondered, like Josh, when you picked up those 3 sets, do you believe you paid a fair price for a secondary market Lego set?
I believe so. I think that I did a little bit of research. There's sets
Oh,
that I've been watching for a while online. Um, the Ghostbusters the Ecto one is still an active set. It has not retired yet, but it is harder to find. The local Lego store near me has not had it in stock for literal months, and other retailers don't necessarily carry it. So it has been one that's been a little bit more challenging to find, and that one I was really excited to find. Um, and then the Death Star has been a white whale for quite some time before Ned dropped it. I've wanted it since it first came out and just never had the ability to get that. So seeing it again with all of its minifigures, I knew what the price points looked like, so I was able to determine that it was actually going to be a fairly good value, especially with that grand opening discount that I was able to take advantage of.
oh. And you use the term retire and completeness. And we're going to touch on those and talk about those things today because a lot of those terms you might not necessarily be familiar with. But in the reselling and the Lego collectible community, those terms have a huge significance. The store like that is using what's a secondary market price. And the secondary market price is determined by a lot of different factors when it comes to Lego and how you determine what your Lego set is worth, right? Because you could look on your shelf and be like, wow, I love my Lego set. And it's been 5 years since you built it, and it has retired. The official word retired in the Lego community meaning that Lego has produced set XYZ for usually sets in terms of Legos. Josh, you'd say about 2.5
Legos.
years? Dang. All right, Josh and I have a thing where I say Legos and I'm not supposed to, and I know I'm not supposed to because the plural is Lego. We talked about it in the last episode, but so be sure to leave me in the comments down below how many times I say it because for some reason I can't get it out of my brain. We talked about moose last time. We're not going to talk about it again today. Um, but the word retire, meaning that Lego just has stopped producing it. And usually a shelf life for an average Lego set, not necessarily basic set, meaning core set like Lego City, is an average of around 2.5 years, unless it's a limited run where they have less sets produced, kind of like Lego Idea sets. We're going to talk about multiple topics today where certain sets are overproduced because they're just common Lego, and then you have limited run sets which are less shelf time because they sell out. They retire because Lego will no longer produce them. And you're probably wondering, well, how do I figure out the value of my set? And we're going to talk about how you can use a couple different websites to determine the actual value and where these secondary stores are actually determining the value too. So when you walk into them as a collector, you can actually properly determine if they are giving you a good price point for your trade-in. Yeah, this is what we wanted to talk about today, and as well as what the value of your Lego set potentially is, right? Now, we another thing that I wanted to discuss is determining the value of your set prior to even looking it up. Are you a collector that keeps everything in a box? Because there are those that do collect Lego that do not take them out of the box. Josh, do you have any sets like that?
I call it my backlog. I'm not necessarily collecting them in the box. I just simply have not had the space and or time to build and or display them.
So what Josh
The
is
answer is
doing,
yes.
I like to call, if you've ever heard like, so you know how you can age a fine wine? You can do that with Lego. You can, I kid you not, there have been articles written that Lego is better than investing in the stock market. In certain cases, depending on the return and how the market is doing, that is true. There have been studies done that I will link down below um, that they say that Lego, when retired, sealed and complete, meaning that it has not been opened, it has not been separated, it has not been moved, that it gains a value once it is retired of 11% annually. So Josh, as long as you are aging those Lego sets like fine wine, then you are gaining value as long as they are retired, depending also on if they are popular. Because if they are common and they were overproduced, there are a lot of unopened boxes, meaning that the market is kind of flooded with too many of the same set. Now, if you are wondering, well, where can I buy? Where can I find retired sets to take advantage of that market? Because I don't necessarily want to play with Lego, but I want to make a little money off Lego. Well, there's a couple different options for you. You can go on bricklink.com. You can go on ebay.com. You can go on Lego and buy sets potentially that are still available that are in retirement phase, meaning that they are no longer in production, but Lego still has enough to sell you. And then you can do what Josh does, not on purpose, but he has his backlog, but hold them and wait. It is a waiting game to gain the value. There's nothing that you can buy to resell quickly unless you are sourcing on secondary places. And this is where I'm going to recommend eBay and potentially Bricklink, but people know what they're doing on Bricklink. With eBay, people, as far as in terms of resellers like myself, we go out to yard sales, garage sales, thrift stores, flea markets. We are buying these sets that were not opened and sometimes potentially opened from people that are just selling their childhood collection, their kids' Legos. You can buy it from a flea market where they might have bought an Amazon pallet and they have dented and creased boxes that are unopened, right? And you potentially could get the person that doesn't necessarily know the value like you do because you use sites like eBay, Bricklink, and Lego.com to understand the pricing so you can buy it for a low price and then hold it and or resell it immediately for a really decent profit. Now, you can buy retired sets. Yeah, you can, because people don't necessarily know they're retired besides you. So as long as you know that they're retired and you use that Google machine, you can find out if they're retired if Lego doesn't provide that to you. Yes, the internet is a helpful place as long as you know how to use it, and Google can answer your questions for you if you ask it correctly. The other thing that I wanted to mention is that you can go to in-person stores like Josh did and potentially can find underpriced sets because they might have priced them at a certain time when the market has changed. Meaning that, let's say, fourth quarter. Now, fourth quarter in selling, as far as physical retail, is from October through the end of December. So October, November, December is the highest sales point all year probably for Lego in the secondary market because people are getting ready for the holidays. So all those sealed sets that have been sitting on eBay all year, at least let's say 200 of them, now you have 50 left. So that means you can raise your price because there's more demand. Less quantity, more demand. More quantity, less demand. See how the price can fluctuate depending on what you have? So you can say, oh, like in the summertime, my set's only valued at $50, but the end of November, my now set is worth 150 because the demand is there for the holidays. So you also have to, that also plays a variable in how much you can sell your Lego set during the holidays. Now you're probably wondering, how do I price my Lego set? Right? How do I determine it's brand new seal? I can get more money for it. You can, or potentially, like that C3PO that Josh mentioned earlier, you can get what, $1,200 for one minifigure? And imagine, some people sell that at a flea market because they just think it's a minifigure for $5. This is where I'm going to show you step by step how to take value in the set that we're going to be talking about, whether it be a new set or an old set, and it's all making sure that you know what you're looking at before you type it in to determine the value. I said use the Google machine earlier. You don't want to just Google your Lego set and say, oh, that's the value. That is not competitive. More than likely, that's an overpriced value that's sponsored ad on Google so they can get more viewership, so they can take advantage of that price point. You want to use eBay. eBay is the standard. You can go on Bricklink, don't get me wrong, but more than likely, Bricklink is getting its average pricing from eBay, but not on individual pieces. And we will talk about that. So I'm going to go ahead, open up this screen. We're going to break it down site by site, and I'm going to tell you some advantages and disadvantages of reselling Lego in the secondary market. All right, so we thought we would do something fun. What I wanted to do, and I told Josh this, is I wanted him to go in his Lego room and pick any used, open, displayed set with minifigures. He's then going to hold it up, and I'm going to walk you through not knowing what the set is, figuring it out, finding out what the actual number of the set is, then looking it up on Bricklink and eBay to determine what the value of that set is, so you can know if you want to trade it in for a certain price or sell it or just know for fun, right? I think that's a good time, right, Josh?
I think so.
All right, drum roll. What set is it going to be?
Ba-da-da-da-da-da. Ba-da-da-da-da.
Ooh, let's see. So, and this is me being what I know, and some people out there might not actually know what this is. And their kids have this, and they have no idea. And if your kids have this, you should also know what this is based on when this original movie came out. If you don't know what this is, tell me what you thought it was in the comments, because that would be weird if you didn't. But here we are. Some people don't know, and this is why we're doing
Scooby-Doo.
this. Scooby-Doo, that's it. So we are currently looking at, this is a little bit different. There's a trick to this. So take a look. We have the Ecto 1 over to the right hand, my right hand side, right? And then over to the left, you have 4 Ghostbusters. But let's take a look at those Ghostbusters a little bit closer. Okay. So we have 4 Ghostbusters, 1 Ecto 1, and they have their proton packs. That's correct, right? Yeah. Proton packs? Let's take a look at that car. Can I see the license plate? Because that's the unique feature of this car. It's the Ecto 1, and that's a piece or a sticker, Josh?
That is a piece.
Okay. So
Printed
now,
thick.
if you take a look, Josh, we have no manual, correct? And we have no box. No.
I do somewhere, but not right
Somewhere.
now.
Not right now. So now we have to figure out, okay, you're at a yard sale. You see this. You say, okay, how much does this person want? Normally, they'll probably give this to you like $5-10, which, to be honest, I don't even need to value. That's a good deal. Buy this thing. But let's say you're at the store, at that secondary store, and you need to know, am I getting a good deal on this Lego set, or should I just buy it online? Right? So let me go ahead and share my screen with you so you can see what I see. You should be able to see my screen. Right, Josh? You see
Yes.
Google? Just Google?
I see Google.
All right. So we are on Google. And you're like, well, Tom, you said not to look it up on Google because the prices are fluctuated by sponsorship. Yes, but we are using Google to figure out the set number to be very specific with eBay. So we are going to look at Lego Ghostbusters. Hey, Josh, do you have that other Ghostbuster vehicle that you purchased recently?
I do.
Because
As
there is a little bit of a size difference between the one that you bought and the one that you held in your hand, right?
there absolutely is, yes.
So by any chance,
So,
would you be able to grab that one?
well, no.
Okay.
But it
It's
is
up there.
there.
But you can see the size of that. It takes up a whole shelf. And Josh, if you hold the one that you have right there in your hand, see, there's a little bit of a size difference. So you potentially you need to be specific because there's 2 different kinds. So we're going to type Lego Ghostbusters Ecto So you're going to see there's the Ecto 1 and the Ecto 2. The Ecto 1 is the full vehicle. And this is the price online it's currently being sold for because it is not retired. So you can go on lego.com, if it loads, and find out that it's currently valued at $239.99. Which, Josh, is that the one that you have? No, it's not. You can
It's not.
see the design is a little bit different. So this is why you want to make sure that you look at the Lego specifically, because it could be designed differently. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to go back. We're going to go back one more time. We're going to type in Lego Ghostbusters. And we are going to look at the Ecto 2. This is still the Ecto 1. What is happening? I clicked on Ecto 1. So if we go to Lego Ghostbusters, Ecto 1 and 2, hopefully it brings us to the correct page. Here we go. So is this correct, Josh? Remember how we looked at those minifigures? There's a reason I looked at the minifigures. Because this is based off of, if I am correct, the 2016 reboot of the original Ghostbusters. Am I correct with that?
That is correct.
Josh, go ahead and hold up those tiny minifigures you have. Hold them a little bit closer. So you're going to see that's why we look specifically at those minifigures. Now, not every set is going to have a duplicate. Not every set is going to have a remake. So this is the remake of the Lego set. So now we're going to go back to Google and we're going to try to find. Let's type in ORIGINAL, original Lego Ghostbusters. Let's see if that'll bring us any more options. This looks a little bit better. I think that might be it. Let's see. As you see, this is a retired set. Josh, if you hold up your set, we have 2 pipes in the back. We have the little antenna. We have 4 minifigures. They have proton packs. It does have the Ecto 1. Josh, is this our comparable set?
We have a match.
We have a match. See how it
Ding,
took
ding,
3
ding.
sets? You want to make sure that you're specific because you can go on Google all day and be like, it's valued at $300 when it's not. You want to make sure that you're specific. You know what you're looking at. Take your time because this is the set that Josh had, but we had to go through 2 other sets in order to get here. Now, the big thing is that we see that it's a retired product, which means it potentially could have more value. Now, Josh, do you have the manual and the box in reality?
I do.
You do. So you have both, which adds value. People like the box, people like the manual, even though this product is opened. Now, we're going to scroll down. We're going to use lego.com in order to understand a little bit more about the set. And we're going to see that the Lego set is 21108. 21108. Now, we want to determine what the value of this set is because you're going to see lego.com has no price point. The original price point is no longer displayed or what it was sold for. It gives you a little bit of a description here. So when you're listing your item for sale, it tells people what it is, which is a cheat code, and it helps, right? In case you don't know. So you need to determine how much this set is worth. And this is where we head over to eBay. So we're going to go over 2 tabs to ebay.com. Welcome to eBay, everybody. Now, the reason my recently viewed is so all over the place is that I resell a lot of different things. So this isn't my personal preference. This is just what I've looked up recently. So what we're going to do is we're going to type in our set that we just found. We don't even need to put in Ghostbusters because we did our homework. We know the exact set that it is. It's now Lego 21108. And you press enter. Now you're going to get a whole variety of options. And you're like, wow, 185 results. I can sell my set for 390. Is this your set? Is this the set, Josh? No.
Sadly, no.
No. Don't rush. Take your time. Relax. We have to filter a little bit. Remember how Josh had the big Ecto 1 on his shelf. Look, people did not do their homework and mislabeled the set. This is not Lego 21108. We went on officiallego.com and found that out. This was not determined right. So we're getting closer with these, but you're thinking, these are new, we don't have new, here's a used set. The prices are all over the place. $139, $79, but 4 bids, free shipping. This is intimidating. Don't worry. We're going to take our time, we're going to find the options, we're going to use our filters here on eBay. So we have a used set. Condition. Let's go to the condition. We're going to click used. Now that's going to get rid of all the new sets or the people that have mislabeled it. Now, what we're going to do is determine what our price point is compared to our competitors if you are looking to sell your Lego set. So I always filter by lowest price and then go up from there to determine what I have. Now, there are a couple different factors that affect how you price your Lego, meaning you have to look at specifics. Josh, is your Lego set complete? Does it have all
Yes,
of its pieces? Is it missing
it
anything?
does. It is not.
And by signifying complete, what does that mean?
That means all of the original components that were in the original set are included in the set that I have.
Correct. And on eBay, is it against the rules to list a set incomplete or incomplete? No. You just have to make sure that you at least tell people what they're missing and then try to determine what the value is. And I'm going to give you a little bit of a hack. Just stay with me on how to find those missing pieces if you want to have a complete set. Most people, when they come onto eBay that want the set, will want it to be complete. That's what increases its value, meaning that it's not missing any pieces, so you're not going to miss out on any of the displays. Because can you imagine, Josh, if you had your as a collector and you enjoyed Ghostbusters and you enjoyed Lego and those blue little tubes off the back of the truck or the back of the station wagon was missing and you didn't have hair for one of your minifigures? It'd be
It's just not the
disappointing,
same.
right? So you would look preferably for a complete used set if you were to look for one. Now, you have to be specific when you're looking to buy as well on eBay. If you're not only looking to sell, but if you want to buy on eBay, it's perfectly fine. Read the descriptions, read the titles. People are putting in the language for a reason. They want you to know what you're buying. A lot of people will go on and be like, wow, look, it's only $10, Josh. I can get the whole set for $10?
Nope.
No,
That's just the
just
instructions.
the instructions. Some people sell the individual piece, right? Would I recommend buying individual pieces on eBay? Yes and no if they're really worth it. I will show you a site called bricklink.com. Not only can you buy full sets, but you can also buy individual pieces to complete sets. So we're going to try to match Josh's set as best we can. So 1, we know it's complete. 2, we know it has the manual. 3, we know he has the box. So we're going to go down and you're going to say, well, that's brand new. No, the box has been opened and the bags have been opened. That is not complete. Or excuse me, that is not brand new. You're going to see that somebody has mismarked the 2016 version of Ghostbusters again. We have another instruction manuals only, and then you can see that they have taken another Ghostbusters vehicle, and it is incomplete, but they're only selling these pieces and parts. On eBay, it is called as is condition, and you have to be okay with it being as is. We have another manual. We have a completely mismarked set. We then have my own creation, which doesn't relate to Ghostbusters at all. You have the Ghostbusters idea Ecto 1 car only. Sometimes people will show you it not built, that they just have all the pieces. So it's up to you to determine if all the pieces are there in as-is condition. But also make sure you know where you're buying from because there could be international fees associated if you buy internationally. So we're going to keep going down. So far, no minifigures, car only, but he has the box and the manual, $82.49. But if you take a look over to the left, just the minifigures, $89.99. Now, the first one that I see over to the right, you're going to see Lego Ideas, 21108, Ghostbusters Ecto 1, complete in box with minifigures, and you're thinking, wow, that's a great price. Always check the feedback score to make sure it's a good seller, because you could order from somebody that sends you completely something else. But also you can go through the photos and you can zoom in to see the stickers and the condition of the set. Most of these sets, not going to lie, and it's okay, probably will come dusty because they were displayed at some point. But at the end of the day, Lego is cleanable. So you're going to flip through. We match Josh's set to this set. Is this really missing anything? You can go ahead and determine for yourself if you are that dedicated. And to be honest, I think this is a fair price point. He even put in the extra pieces, or she put in the extra pieces, has the manual and a brick separator. That's a pretty good deal. So that's $115. Now remember, this is an active selling item. This has not sold. So $115 plus $15 shipping, so around $130. Here it is again, and this, we're in the ballpark now. You're going to see complete, 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 complete. So it ranges between $115 to $150, but the $150 includes the shipping. So that is your competitor base right now. If you had a store, a physical storefront, I guarantee you they would probably sell this car for around $115 to $130. Remember, you don't have to pay for shipping when you go into a store. Now you want to see what people have sold it for recently, just making sure that it actually sells. You're going to sort this by ended recently, and you're going to see that someone sold it underpriced for $89.99, one for $90, just the car for $49.86. You have somebody sold it for under $90, so you have $46 again, but you're going to see 4 parts, meaning that it's not complete. Then you have the closest thing to we saw to $115, which was $99. So the reason I priced it the lowest price first, the current selling value of the lowest price set that is complete comparable to this one is the $115, because they own the market share. This was the previous high. The now high has gone from 99 to 115. So we've taken our set that we knew nothing about. We found out that it was complete. It had the manual. It had the box. We knew nothing about it. We found out its competitors. We found out its current going rate. We found out its current selling rate. And I would say that if you wanted to sell this set, Josh, with its box and its manual and its figures, and you waited a little while, I would say you would get anywhere between $115 to $130 plus shipping around the holidays, add an extra $20 to $30 on that price point. Now, if you're saying to yourself, if I sold it just for parts, I'm not going to get a lot of money. And no, people will probably pay half, as we saw previously. I think we had one car from before that was selling for like $50 and it had the minifigures. So you're probably thinking to yourself, well, how do I find those missing pieces and parts to complete my set to put on eBay or to sell on Bricklink? Let's head over a tab, shall we? To bricklink.com. Bricklink.com is everything and anything to do with the secondary market of Lego, whether it be new or used. There is no other category, like with eBay. They sell a million different things. Bricklink is solely just Lego. Now what we're going to do is since it's all Lego, it knows what product we're looking for. We're just going to put in the set number, and we're going to go ahead and click search. Let's take a look at the price comparisons for a full complete set of what we have as our Ecto 1. As you can see, there are a couple different listings. These are people that have created it. So these are not individual listings like eBay. This is a listing, a global listing. So there's one listing and there's 700 people selling this set brand new with 168 different sellers, and they're selling it in Josh's used condition, 41 quantity, and 39 sellers. So let's take a look at the Ecto 1. So the nice thing about Bricklink, when you type in that set number, it'll give you a great amount of information. And also, if you want to find out if a used set is complete, meaning that you didn't get the manual, you couldn't find the part list online, this is where you can come and find it. You're going to see that it's made up of 440 parts and 4 minifigures. If you go ahead and count the pieces, it's up to you if you want to do that or sell it as is. I would say on a lot of older sets, now I've done this in the past with Lego Rock Raider sets, and I've done this with 90s Star Wars sets. Those sets are worth it because they could potentially be in the hundreds of dollars. If you do get them complete with the manual and the box, which I did. And it took me a decent while to do that, but I used Bricklink to help me determine if I had all the pieces and parts that I needed. It'll tell you the year it was released, when it potentially was retired. You can now go to your parts list and see each individual part that you could potentially need, right? Like that little Ecto 1 sign. Now, this is a print-on piece compared to a stickered piece. I prefer print-on. Josh?
I also prefer print on.
Yeah, stickers are not fun. But they are. They could be, but they're always like you always want to get the angle wrong, and then you get it wrong, or you want it right, and then you get it wrong. It's so annoying, and you're like,
There's nothing worse than trying to peel it off and then it curls and then there's a bubble inside of it.
no.
Give me a
So,
printed brick any day.
so let's say, Josh, you didn't have that printed Echo 1 piece on your thing, and that's what makes the set. And that could decrease the value by a significant portion because it's a very unique piece to this set. And unique pieces can sell for a really decent amount of money. So we're going to go ahead and click on the individual part number of this Ecto 1. Now this is just for this specific piece on bricklink.com. It'll tell you when it was made, the sets that it's a part of. Yep, it's part of 3 different sets, which is interesting. The years it was manufactured, and then you can see on the wanted lists of people that want to buy it. You can now go to items for sale and see different storefronts, and these are people's created storefronts like eBay stores, but specifically for individual priced Lego. Now, some sellers sell it where you have to buy a minimum buy, like you can see a minimum buy of 73 cents, where you can buy this, right, from this for 18 cents. But then you have to buy some other stuff from this store. But you can see if you bought it from this person, there's no minimum buy, and it's 26 cents. But they're shipping from Hong Kong. So potentially where you live, but it could take a little bit longer. But you get it shipped to your house for $1, complete your Lego set, and then potentially you could sell that set on eBay or Bricklink for an extra 20. So is it worth it? It just depends on the set that you have, how new it is, and how old it is. You could potentially turn that 20 into maybe 40 or 60, depending on the piece or part. So you could also see the price guide as well and how it's trended. So you can see in June of 24 that how many times it's sold. The minimum price was 75 cents. The average price was $2.74. So it fluctuates. You can see that it's currently available in many different places for many different prices. And then you also see that this person is trying to get their piece sold compared to the average value, where you can see that it's in the 40 cent to 50 cent range. So 18 cents, to be honest, is a really great deal, but you have to have a minimum buy of 75 cents. Now that's diving a little bit too deep, but that's where you can find extra pieces and parts for sets that you want to complete. So we're going to go back and we're going to look at the comparative pricing on Bricklink for the set itself. So if you didn't want to buy any individual piece. And we're going to see that there are a couple sellers selling it. So we need to read the description to make sure that these sets are complete, like with eBay, because people are putting information in here, so don't assume that all these sets are complete. So you're going to see selling only the 4 minifigures, good condition, has proton packs. So is this the full set with the manual and box? No, you are paying $36 for just the minifigures, but they labeled it as Ghostbusters Ecto 1 because they belong to the set. So we need to, just like with eBay, go through and read just the Ecto 1 only, complete. No, see, by them saying complete in good condition with no minifigures is inaccurate. It's not to call out the storefront, but complete is with the minifigures. That is a complete set. So missing one license. See, missing one license. Oh, it is a sticker. Or is it a sticker and they mislabeled it and it's missing a piece?
It's definitely printed on there.
It's a printed on, so it is not a sticker. So some people don't know. So it's like new X display acrylic box only. So they're only selling the acrylic box that goes to the set. All completed instruction manuals included, no minifigures. See, by saying complete with instruction manual book, is that complete, Josh?
It is
No,
not.
no, no. You need the minifigures in order to be no box. All bags are sealed, so that's potentially new because the bags are sealed. So we're getting close. Complete with instructions, no box. That's okay. It means it has all the pieces. By saying complete, meaning the pieces, all the pieces are there. If the manual is not there or the box is not there, okay. But as long as it's complete, it has all of its pieces. Boxes and conditioning, parts resealed in Ziploc bags with instructions. So that is a complete. So the comparative price point right now is $94.95. How much did we find it for on eBay?
It was 115 was our going for market.
In the US. And this is from UK. So 94 plus 95 shipping from the UK, and we're in the US, so international shipping. That could get us up to that 115, right? Potentially,
True.
based on the weight of this. So we have one that's coming from the US. Box creased with shelfware, parcel post. So we're looking at almost about $100. So let's say we look at this, we view this one. Now they didn't
It's
take
from
any
Malaysia.
pictures or anything. Is it from Malaysia? A US flight did it have? Shoot. So let's see. All right, let's take a look at the closest US based seller, I guess. Because if we ship it from Hong Kong, should be well, let's say Canada. Well, that has no box. No box. Ooh, they took their own picture. Complete with box and instructions. Can send photos upon request. So let's see how much it's 105.64 from Canada. Add item to cart. Oh. So it's $145 Canadian. In US it's 105.64. I'm going to move us a little bit. Add to cart if it will let me. View our cart. Oh, it won't let me log in. So is it around the same price as eBay? Give or
Approximately.
take. Right? So Bricklink is good. It's really meant for Lego sellers and buyers. But at the end of the day, Bricklink is also utilizing at least for full and partial sets. In my opinion, it's utilizing the eBay market price. And a lot of the secondary stores, like the one Josh went to, is also utilizing the eBay platform in order to determine price point on used and new sets and determining whether or not they have manuals, boxes, or incomplete, because that also hurts and determines the fluctuation in the pricing. It's the idea that we can go on eBay, or excuse me, we can go on Google and we can type in Lego 21108, and you can see that it typically goes for 130 to 151. And look at what Amazon is selling it for, where you get that overvaluation of 183, 189, 174.99. See how it's still in stock? See how this person, how this is marked, how they're trying to sell a different set to you than what we actually typed in? These are all sponsored. So always be careful when you type in your price on Google and say, wow, it's valued at $239.99 when it's not actually the set that you want, and then you try to sell it at that. No. Please utilize these steps. If you have any questions, comments, concerns about what this process was, you want me to slow it down, you want me to break it down, please let me know in the comments down below. I'm happy to do so. But this is really how you determine what your set is worth, how much you should competitively be buying it for if you go to that secondary store, because if that store is selling it to you for $200, is it worth it? Or could you take that extra, what, $85 and buy another set with it? I'm just saying, you want to support that small local business, but make sure that you potentially are not being taken advantage of because they're a small local business. Pay the appropriate price point. That's all I'm saying, right? More Lego,
I
more fun.
appreciate that the description of these sets says that they are attractive,
Correct. Attractive.
detailed, fun. durable, attractive. We have the Ghostbusters Ecto one as a pinup.
I
Just the cover of the instruction manual up there on the wall.
Now, there's another factor that Josh and I want to touch on. Now that covers the how to value your set. One other site that I wanted to show real quick. If you go to lego.com and let's see, and type the word retiring. Did I spell that right? I probably spelled that horrendously wrong.
You got it.
You can actually find the retiring sets that are coming up for retirement, and in case you wanted to buy them at new market price from Lego and hold them, age them like a fine wine, where you buy them brand new and you literally won't be able to sell them for like 2 or 3 year period to make your money back. And remember, it's about 11% annually. You can see that a lot of the Mario sets are retiring. A whale is retiring, Josh.
From Avatar.
From Avatar. But this is where you can see where sets are retiring. You could try to go find them. A lot of chance that if they're showing on the site here, more than likely you probably won't find it in stores. Facebook Marketplace is a good place to find retiring sets as well, or retired sets. But if you want to get in on the game early, pay attention to this site. Try to buy what you think is worth it, because potentially some of this stuff, not every set is worth it. Not every set. Some of them are overproduced. And this is where I wanted to talk a little bit about understanding value of licensing different sets and figures, and what determines what gives it a little bit more value than other sets. And Josh, when it comes to determining like a retiring set, based on what you have seen in buying all these different Lego sets, what have you seen in terms of popularity? What would you say would be a good set to look out for when it comes to retirement? What gives it a little bit more value than determining like another set, like let's say you had like a common city set.
Sure.
Uh,
And not to just value Lego City, some of those sets will increase as well. One of the things that I've noticed in keeping an eye on certain sets, not to resell, but um, there's a sweet period right before the sets go to retire where sometimes discounts are offered by Lego if it is one of those overproduced sets. Now, typically you won't see that on larger sets unless it hasn't been selling. For instance, calling back to the store, the raffle that the giveaway was the Black Panther bust. That was a big set. It's King T'Challa from Marvel, and it is a giant, probably foot and a half, 2 foot tall statue of Black Panther's head, completely brick built. It was originally a higher cost set. It had a lot of pieces. It didn't come with any minifigures, but for displayability, it was a pretty cool set. But the price was a little bit higher, and it wasn't very popular. So by the end, before retirement, there were not just Lego.com you could see sales, but other retailers like Target. I saw it at Walmart, different locations like that were offering up to 40% off the original price, because it was so overproduced. It wasn't selling very high, which for folks who buy a set in order to create their MOCs, that's fantastic. To get that number, it's a high piece count. To get several thousand pieces, primarily black, which is a good color for creations. That's an opportunity for them to use that discount to kind of not necessarily, you know, bulk up their collection, but if they need those specific components, it becomes worthwhile for them. But as far as a reseller, it may not be worth it to buy that set to resell as the Black Panther bust,
no.
because it wasn't selling very well in the first place.
The best thing that
Um,
they could potentially do is part it out meaning that take all the individual pieces and sell them piece by piece, but that's long tail. That's very like that's not an eBay game. That's a Bricklink store long tail buy.
But then at the same time, you'll get a set that's a little bit smaller, like for instance, uh, hmm, one that I've been looking for that I hadn't been able to find for quite some time were the new Indiana Jones series that released last year. The series came, it was three different sets. There was a diorama set, which was really, really cool. It was from the Raiders Temple. Then there was the Emperor's Tomb from the end of Raiders of the Lost Ark, and then it was also the plane chase from The Last Crusade, were the three sets that were released. The um, the fighter the fighter plane from Last Crusade, that was pretty regularly available. The Tomb was pretty regularly available as well, but the diorama set from Raiders, which is a great display piece, came with multiple new and unique minifigs and a lot of really neat playable components. So not only was it a great display piece, it was a great play set, and it came with some unique components that hadn't been seen in other sets before, including the Golden Monkey. That set you couldn't find anywhere. You couldn't find it in the Lego store. It was out of stock on Lego.com for the longest time. Only recently have I seen it return to shelves. And the rumor is that it's already going to be retiring at the end of this year. So for collectors and investors, the that may be a good set to keep an eye out for because of the different components that it has. And in a lot of cases, the IP in general has a pretty good um, increase in value, especially if you look at the Star Wars theme, maybe over the Marvel theme. With Marvel, there's so many characters, and there's so many sets that are similar and not necessarily based on anything specific. It's a way to kind of build out your inventory of characters and things like that, that they are a little bit more overproduced. But for something like Star Wars, every set is very specific. It's a specific ship that appeared in the movies or the shows, and with the characters as well, that over time, the Star Wars sets tend to value higher than the Marvel sets. But even then, there's a breakdown as well. Typically, sets that cost initially retailed for $50 or more, or had 1,000 pieces or more, typically will increase in value higher than some of the lower cost sets. Unless you look at battle packs, for people who like to make their own minifig armies, as it's called, where they will go and they will buy the battle packs that just comes. Typically, it's like a smaller set, maybe retail around $20 or so. It'll come with several minifigs, maybe a small vehicle or something like that. But those sets will value very high for collectors who are trying to create their armies. They want it just for the minifigs. So you can see some of those lower cost sets as well increase in value. But that's something that's unique to Star Wars. You don't need an army of Iron Men as you would an army of clone troopers.
No, and to your point with the troopers, a lot of people are taking those minifigures and now in the secondary market, in the reselling market, are now creating customs. So if you need a specific armor, a specific paint, or a specific way that the figure needs to look, people are now taking those figures and they're modifying them, taking their initial value and increasing them because they are very good at that artwork that is needed on the figure itself, which is also another way that people are making a little bit of money, not only on their own individual websites, also through Instagram because people are requesting specifics, but also people sell them on eBay too.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And another series that tends to have a higher increase in value are the Jurassic World series, primarily because of these little guys, the dinos, because they are unique, built minifig scale creatures that you can't find in other sets. But in each of the Jurassic Park sets, there is a different dinosaur character. So to collect them to create your own park, or even just for fans of dinosaurs themselves, these tend to go up a little bit higher as well, even for the smaller Jurassic sets. And what's really cool is because they do come in different components, they're customizable as well, just like minifigures are. So you can make some really interesting, let your true Doctor Wu out and make some interesting dinosaur hybrids with the components for the different dinos.
And with the sets being unique, kind of like when we talked about in episode one, Johnny Thunder, and the first thing that you mentioned was that it came with a little red panda, right?
Mhm.
Unique, different, unseen, and that's what not only makes some of these sets rarer, but a lot of the people at Bricklink that are selling just the red panda can get away with selling it for $5 to $10. And apparently in the secondary market, I cannot pronounce it still. The new Lord of the Rings sets we talked about.
Barrador.
Yes, that. What he said. Exactly. Apparently in the secondary market, people are just buying that set, not even building it, taking the minifigures and reselling the minifigures alone for more than what the set is currently going for. They're not dumping the Legos, but they're selling just the minifigures for the same price point.
Legos.
And shoot, three, I think. Um, and they're selling just the minifigures. I think it comes with 11 of them for more than the entirety of the whole set. So it goes to show that unique pieces and parts in within sets make it more valuable, but also first of its kind. And you mentioned Star Wars, Josh. Now, Star Wars does have a lot of sets come out. It takes a little bit longer for those sets to gain value since it is a very popular series and they do produce a lot of those sets. But some of the most unique, and you mentioned, Josh, you had mentioned earlier a little bit about Star Wars, and Star Wars is highly collectible. It has a huge line still to this day, and that's thanks to it. It was one of the first partnerships, at least with IP, that Lego had created back in the late 90s, early 2000s, and those sets are highly, highly sought after in the secondary market.
They are, and for good reason too. Not only was it the first partnership between Lego and a certain IP, but and we'll talk about this a little bit next week when we dive into the history of Lego. It was truly one of the things that helped save the Lego company in a sense. Lego was struggling, and the partnership with Star Wars turned a brand new leaf and opened up so many doors for so much expansion and so much of the types of sets that we see today.
Yeah. And that's the nice thing is that you could still get these sets and enjoy them. You can find older sets that you had from your childhood and or from earlier in life, still get them, and now there's such not only with lego.com but with eBay and now specifics like Bricklink, and now we're starting to see pop-up shops, secondary pop-up shops where you're going to find these pieces, you're going to find these parts, you're going to find what you need in order to complete those sets. So reselling and Lego go hand in hand because it keeps the old new again and the new ever newer because it just gains its value. So can you make money reselling Lego? Yes. Some tips and tricks. Take your time. Do your homework. Don't assume value. Keep the box. Keep the manual. Put things back in a Ziploc bag. And if it gets dusty, it's your choice. But at the end of the day, know that you have value. Hopefully this helped you a little bit. For those that were listening, I will link the video if you want to check it out on how I walked you through step by step each and every step of the component in terms of reselling and knowing what the value of your sets are to see what you can get the trade-in value. Now, one thing I did want to touch on, what you know the value of your sets being when you try to trade them in at a secondary store, they will not offer you that price because they need to make money too. So they will offer you a lower trade-in value because they need some kind of percentage on that sale. So don't expect what you can get online for it in person at that secondary store. Maybe a little bit closer in trade-in value, but know that they need a little bit of wiggle room too. But anything that you wanted to add before we close out, Josh?
No, it's been exciting to kind of learn a little bit more. Good to know that there was some value to the sets that I picked up and the sets that I have. So that maybe, if worse comes to worse someday and I need to build my house out of Lego, I'll have at least a little bit uh, to return on that investment.
Exactly. So take Josh's words, buy more Lego. Two, If you need a new roof or some kind of door, just build it out of Lego. I've seen it done. You can do it too. But next week, if you tune in, because if you haven't watched episode 1 and you haven't watched episode 2, you just watched episode 3. Tune in because I think we are going to touch on a little bit of history. We're going to keep it a mystery. See what I did there? But please be sure to like this video. If you have any questions, comments, or want to participate, leave it in the chat. Message us on Instagram. We are on there too. We actively like to post fun tidbits and things. Josh posted some interesting stuff that we'll talk about in the next episode. They should check out Instagram before we talk about it here on YouTube. Be sure to like. Be sure to subscribe. Josh, what should they do with a friend?
Send the link, have them watch, have them like, comment, and subscribe.
Also, if they want to go ahead and enjoy Legos together, they could totally do that too. I said Legos again.
Legos.
Oh, well, with that, my name's Tom.
And I'm Josh.
And this is the BlockCast.
Where Legos fans click.
Ow!